Hello, everyone, and welcome to Billion Dreams 2024. We're thrilled to have you here with us today. Um, it is with great privilege that I introduce you to Sri Jayesh Ranjan, the Special Chief Secretary, Information Technology and Industries and Commerce, Government of Telangana. Mr. Jayesh has been a driving force behind shaping policy frameworks, driving investments, and leading digital empowerment initiatives that are transforming India today. With over 12 years of diverse experience across sectors, from tribal development to IT, his leadership is visionary. I can go on about his professional achievements, such as putting Hyderabad on the global map as a hub for innovation, but there's more you should know. Jayesh is a dedicated supporter of numerous social, cultural, and charitable causes. He has also been awarded an honorary doctorate for his role in fostering trade and investment between the UK and Telangana. Today, he'll be sharing his insights on the past, present, and future of India as a global technology leader and will be addressing your questions on the same. Without further ado, let's dive in, sir. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Avinash ji, and greetings to all the participants, all the listeners. First of all, it's a matter of great honor for me to have been given this chance to speak to all of you, tell you a little bit about what we do in the government here in the state of Telangana and the city of Hyderabad. And as Avinash ji mentioned, I have been part of the tech sector on behalf of the government for close to 10 years, over 10 years. So I have a fairly broad understanding of what is the tech landscape in our country, where did we evolve from, what are we poised to really grow into. So I'll share a little bit about that. But let me also qualify whatever I say by letting you know that I work for a province in India. So as all of you are aware, there are 28 states now in the country. So I represent the state of Telangana and of course the city of Hyderabad, which is a well-known tech hub. So I'll explain all these things from a state's perspective, a state government's perspective. So first of all, one general point before I tell more about my state is that many of you would recall, I know that many of you are actually connected to the tech industry. Some of you work for tech companies, some of you have your own tech firms, but all of you will clearly recall that a major milestone in our India's emergence as a tech leader came during the Y2K period. All of you will recall that when this thought came, that when the calendar changes on 1st of January of 2000, because the programming has not been done keeping this eventuality in mind, everything will collapse and things like that. And few years before Y2K, particularly during mid-90s, late 90s, there was a frantic kind of a race to find out who are the people who can provide these solutions, who can be in premise, who can give on-hand guidance if something goes wrong. And Indian companies made use of that opportunity. And today we know who these companies are. They are the face of Indian IT industry globally. And people from India got multiple opportunities to work in global companies and showcase their talent and prowess. So that also was a very important milestone. But I have been coming to the US pretty regularly. In the last 10 years, I would have made at least 30 to 40 visits. In fact, this year alone, I have been to the US 3 times. But for the last 2-3 years, I noticed something which is very similar to Y2K. People are excited that technology adoption is happening at a very rapid pace. Everyone is clear that if I do not adopt technology, I'll be left behind. I'll be badly disrupted. I may even go out of business. I may go bankrupt. And there is also a very strong realization that if one has to rely so much on technology, one of the best places to source that technology is India. And earlier we used to only talk to tech companies, the tech giants and all that. But today, everyone, regardless of the line of activity that you follow, there is a greater and greater recognition that tech is going to be that game changer for you. Tech is the one which will really make you progress. And in that context, I'm very happy to share with you that while India has become really the flavor of the day, within India, there are a few cities who are really capturing this momentum. And again, I feel very proud to share with you that Hyderabad is one of the premier cities. In fact, some of you would know that apart from tech companies increasing their presence, their footprint, their headcount, one other trend which is happening at a very rapid pace is the emergence of GCCs, Global Capability Centers. Many companies, they need not be tech companies. It could be a FMCG, it could be an airlines, it could be a bank, it could be a university. Earlier, all of them had tech solutions, tech applications, but they would source the tech from one of the vendors, one of the providers. Again, many of the vendors happen to be some of these big Indian services companies, IT services companies. But particularly in the aftermath of pandemic and lockdowns, etc., they have also realized that having control of the tech that you use, that you deploy, that you deliver is more important. And therefore, the movement to set up your own capability center, that is happening. And again, I'm happy to show that I'm happy to share with you that data has shown, particularly over the last 3 years, that largest number of GCCs that are opening anywhere in the country are opening in Hyderabad. I mean, typically, I should be candid with you. All of us know that Hyderabad is not the largest tech hub in the country. The largest tech hub in the country is Bangalore. I mean, if I pretend otherwise, I'll be only kind of misleading you. Bangalore's size of the tech ecosystem is far bigger than that of Hyderabad. But at least for GCCs, we have clearly stolen a march. We are attracting more number of GCCs. And again, to give you a recent example, we were in the US in July. And I can tell this to you. We spent 5 days in the US. And in those 5 days, we signed 7 GCC MOUs. And 4 MOUs, which are even bigger than the ones we signed, we could not announce publicly because of the impeding US elections. So the sensitivities around the elections, etc., prevented us from declaring those big ticket deals. But suppose we count them, obviously in a few months from now, they will all be made public. But the seeds were sown in this US trade. And if you include those 4, so our record is that in 5 days, we signed 11 deals, which is kind of astonishing if you ask me. So, 2-3 things which I would like to highlight here. So why is it that India is becoming the flavor of the day? Hyderabad is becoming the most kind of sought after destination, the go-to destination. Even the tech companies are expanding their footprint. Already since the last so many years, we had the distinction, Hyderabad, that is, of being the city which hosts the second largest presence of all the 5 tech majors of the world. So if you search, and you did not really search because it's all common knowledge now, which are the biggest tech companies in the world. Coincidentally, these are all American companies. The 5 big ones are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta, or Facebook as they are called. And the unique distinction that Hyderabad enjoys is that the second largest campuses of each of them are in Hyderabad after their own US headquarters. So this distinction was there for almost 6-7 years now. And one difference, one change which has happened, which is again a very nice change to speak about. And so technically this statement that each of them have their second largest presence in Hyderabad in the world is not really true anymore. And the reason why it is not true anymore is that Google now has more people in Hyderabad than in Mountain View. So it includes both people who are on the permanent roles of Google and also people who are working on contract from some vendor. But let us put it this way. People for whom Google is vicariously responsible, there are more of them in Hyderabad than there are in Mountain View. So that is one part, that the tech companies continue to come here, expand their footprint, do more and more things. So suppose, for instance, if I were participating in this webinar, let us say 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and if I had made the same statement that Hyderabad hosts the second largest campuses of all these companies. One immediate thought which would have gone in everyone's mind would have been that possibly these centers in Hyderabad, they do the back end kind of work. They are the back offices. They do that low end kind of, the basic shared services like payroll or HR and all those things. But that is not the truth at all. For instance, if you visit the Amazon office in Hyderabad, you will find that lots of Alexa related programming is driven from there. If you come to the Google office in Hyderabad, which, as I told, is now the largest office beyond Mountain View, and Google is now. So I've been to Mountain View. Of course, there is some aesthetics in the way they have designed their building, but they are now constructing a massive campus, which will be more than at least half of the buildings they have in Mountain View. This is a 3 million square feet facility they are building. Amazon already have their largest campus building in Hyderabad. So. The point is that lots of cutting edge work happens here. If you go to Google's office, you will find that the entire Maps team works out of here. Then there is a very popular payment instrument of Google, which is used in India, which is called GPay. The entire GPay team sits in Hyderabad. Google also has lots of language translation products. All of them are developed in Hyderabad. Apple's engineering teams are there. They also have a Maps team. So this belief that only the low end kind of work happens or back office kind of work happens, that's not true at all. So that is one. I mentioned this. The second point which I was trying to emphasize was that we have also become a very important center for GCCs. We have more than 200 GCCs now, and a large number of them relate to the BFSI sector. You name any large American bank, and they have a large tech center present in Hyderabad. Similarly, we are now supporting lots of life sciences companies. Again, some of the MOUs which we signed on our last trip pertain to life sciences. We signed up with Cigna, we signed up with Amchem, and we signed up with a company which manufactures animal vaccine, which is called Zoetis, Zoetis. And there are so many others as well. Again, FMCG is an important vertical. Pepsi is one of the largest tech development centers anywhere in the world is located here. The brand which owns the group which owns all these popular brands like Dunkin' Donuts and Buffalo Wild Wings, etc. That brand is called Inspire. Inspire's presence is here. Their tech center is here, and there are so many others also. So on both these fronts, supporting core tech companies and also supporting GCCs, India has become the flavor of the day, as I was telling, and within India, Hyderabad has become a very go-to, very sought-after destination. So what appeals to these companies? Why do they come to Hyderabad and not, let us say, prefer any other city? So there are few reasons why it happens. One is that the value proposition on talent is very, very strong. Many of you who live in the US would know this, and I have also studied in the US, so I can also bank upon my own experience that the agility which is there in the US education system. I went to do a master's at Harvard, and every course which I took, the content was really, as the expression says, hot off the press, the latest topics. I was a student when this Afghanistan war and all was happening, so instant issues were kind of reviewed and discussed, and policy perspectives were kind of explained. And all of us complained that in India we are still teaching 19th century syllabus, which has totally lost its relevance, etc. So in Hyderabad, in Telangana, that is, as a government, we have taken upon ourselves this responsibility that we will update the syllabus of all our colleges very, very frequently. And you'll be happy to know we have about 150 plus engineering colleges. So we will be, we ensure that all the curriculum is taught, which is very, very recent, which is very topical and recent. The other important thing is that, as all of us recognize, innovation is today driving lots of tech deployment, tech development, etc. So Hyderabad has also become a very important center for innovation development. We have institutions like the T-Hub, etc., and lots of corporates run their innovation program. course, the value proposition on infrastructure. See, most of you would know that at the end of the day, it becomes a Hyderabad versus Bangalore kind of comparison. And the reason why people prefer Hyderabad is because there are better social infrastructure, physical infrastructure, features, etc. So I am very, very positive. The outlook about India for the coming, I would say, decade or even beyond that is very positive. Honorable Prime Minister, the state chief ministers, they are all very clear that technology is something which should remain our strong suit, and we should continue to build products for our country and also for the rest of the world. Amongst all the important countries in the world, the adoption of what we call as emerging technologies is possibly the fastest in this country. In fact, in Hyderabad, we hosted a major global AI summit just about 10 days ago. It was a roaring success, and we had lots of American participants too, from big tech companies including IBM and Cisco and others. And many of them commented that the kind of enthusiasm they see in India about understanding new technologies, about deploying new technologies, and creating products and solutions which benefits not just fellow Indians but also potentially rest of the world. They felt so happy about their experiences, etc. So I noticed that many people are asking questions. So Avinash ji, shall I pause here and shall we take questions, or how do you want me to proceed?
We'll continue for a little bit more, sir, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, got it. So I noticed one question, but in any case, I was planning to speak about it. So I'll get into it right away. So this question is about how do you spread the benefits of technology to rural India as well, which is a very vital question. Of course, big cities are the important economic drivers, cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore and Chennai and all, but there is a large rural India as well, which we can't ignore. So many governments are doing it, but what we do in Telangana is something very special. And as I said, this model is being followed in other states as well. So in a way, it is reflective of what's happening throughout the country. So one of the important issues is that if you want to bring digital to the rural India, you have to create digital infrastructure. So in the urban cities, it happens automatically. For example, I'm taking this call from a hotel actually. I came here to attend a social event and then I stepped out to take this call. I instantly got connected to the hotel Wi-Fi, and it's all happening in a very nice way. But obviously in the rural areas, the quality of digital infrastructure is very limited. So both the national government and many state governments are now ensuring that digital infrastructure is created right till the last mile. We have a flagship program in Telangana which is called T-Fiber, and the ambition of T-Fiber is that every home in the state must have reliable optic fiber cable connectivity. And as some of you would know, Telangana has a population of 40 million. So approximately 8 million homes are there. And our attempt is that every home, regardless of where you are, you may be very remote, you may be in some forest, you may be on some hilltop, but we will ensure that optic fiber cable reaches you. And we are proceeding very fast on it. I'm confident that hopefully by, let us say, March or April of next year, we would have covered the entire state. So that is one very big thing, that we are creating digital infrastructure in the rural areas. We are also skilling rural people, rural students, that is. There's a government institution which is called TASK, Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. And we are also aware that not every job needs to be located in a large city. And COVID obviously has shown to us lots of tasks can be done by working from home. But even if work from home is becoming passe, people have seen that it's not really contributing a lot. People need to get into offices. So we have a model which a few other states have also emulated, which is to create plug and play facility in tier 2 and tier 3 towns, which the government itself is doing. And in the state of Telangana, we have created 9 such plug and play facilities. Now, because many of you are, of course, all of you are NRIs, I should also tell something, that who is occupying these plug and play spaces. Again, this is something very heartening, that most of these plug and play spaces in tier 2 and tier 3 towns in Telangana have been occupied by persons of Indian origin who actually belong to that space. So I'll give you an example. There's a town in Telangana which is called Khammam. It's a tier 2 town. It's not Hyderabad, it's not Warangal, it's a smaller town. Maybe having a population of maybe 100,000 or 120,000. Of course, in India, 100,000 is considered small. In the US, 100,000 may be a relatively a very big place. But in our terminology, it's a tier 2 town for sure. So we have built a 75,000 square feet of plug and play space. Internet is provided, everything else is provided. And then we offer space to companies at very, very nominal rent. Actually, in the first few years, we don't take any rent at all. The space is free. And then with the help of this institution that I spoke about, TASK, Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge, we train the students in the catchment colleges to match up to the standards which this company is expecting. And then we help these companies by giving them some small financial incentives also. So as I said, many of these spaces, actually most of these spaces have been taken over by companies. So many people have done that. Of course, one is that there is a case also, business sense also, but most of them have done with a spirit of giving back. So let us say I belong to Khammam, I did my primary schooling there, then I possibly studied in Hyderabad, and then I got an opportunity to go to the US, do my masters, then I got a job there. I decided to live there, and then I become an entrepreneur. I have started my own company. Let us say my company employs 200 people in the US. Why not give 20 of those seats to Khammam? So that is how it is working. So many of them have existing offices. They are slightly downscaled, or if they wanted to recruit more people, that recruitment is happening in a Khammam or a Mahbub Nagar or in Nalgonda or in Adilabad, and so on and so forth. So this is also a very good way in which NRIs can support digital journey of our country by creating jobs, by creating projects and solutions, etc. And many of these US companies do have good clients in the US or rest of the world for whom they have developed lots of product, lots of solutions. And our offer to all of them is that if any of those products or solutions are of relevance to our country or our state or our city also, please share that with us. We'll be happy to kind of take it up for you. So that is one way in which NRIs are contributing. Another thing which NRIs are doing, which already is very visible and very heartening for Hyderabad and Telangana, is that they are supporting our startups. As you know, lots of new disruption in technology is coming not from large companies or R&D institutions or academic institutions. Of course, they continue to do what they are expected to do, but much of the new stuff, which is much more transformative, much more progressive, much more futuristic, is coming from young entrepreneurs whom we call startups. So startups, of course, they are doing well as a whole, but they do face many challenges. Funding is one challenge. Getting connects with corporates is another challenge. So I have seen many NRIs have stakes in VC firms. They're willing to come to India. They're willing to identify good, talented young people whose solutions have a promise. They're willing to invest. They're also willing to connect them to, let us say, corporates in the US who can give them POCs and all that. So in Telangana, we have structured it in a very organized way. There is a program which is called T Bridge. So T Bridge can stand for Telangana Bridge. It can also stand for Technology Bridge. So this is the program through which we encourage young startups, young entrepreneurs to explore market opportunities in the US. And obviously, people of Indian origin who are so successful in the US, they are our conduit. They help us in funneling these startups to the US. So that again is something which is very positive, and I do hope that more and more NRIs try this out. And of course, as I said, while people who are in the tech space do these kind of things like starting companies back home, giving jobs back home, or supporting entrepreneurs from India to look at the market opportunities in the US, etc. But even if you're not in the tech sector, let us say you work for some bank or something, GCCs are really becoming very, very important. And I know for sure, as I told you, there are 200 plus GCCs now. Many of them are today here because someone of Indian origin seeded this idea in their leadership amongst their CXOs, amongst their decision makers, that India will be a good place for us to go. And I know this in dozens of cases where someone of Indian origin started this discussion, started this conversation. And this is something which is again very, very nice, because see, if you're not a tech company, I as an IT secretary will not really know what is happening inside your company. Let us say you are a PepsiCo and all. Of course, I drink Pepsi, but I won't know what kind of decision making you are taking and what is happening in your tech world. But if someone within your company, within that company, pushes the top management that, like, look, India is a great place, let us explore, let us try out. Within India, there are certain cities which are more progressive, where the governments are more welcoming. Let us talk to them, let us check it out. And if you see any business case of going to India, let us do that. So all these things are things which NRIs can accomplish on our behalf. We always treat them as important ambassadors for our country, for our state. And whenever we travel abroad, as I told you, I've been to the US so many times in the last 10 years. We ensure that there are always diaspora events in which we directly talk to them, we engage with them, and we always give them a sense that they are of value to us and we value their contribution. While they may not be physically in India, but there is a lot that they are contributing, and we expect this flow of their contribution, their generosity, their charity to continue. And as much of that can come our way in Telangana, I'll be equal. I mean, I'll be doubly delighted. So I would like to stop with this, and if if Avinashji agrees, we'll take some of the questions. I don't know how much time do I have.
No, no, absolutely, no problems. As long as you are okay, we can take some questions. There are some very important, relevant questions that our audience want to ask you. I think the first, I think one of the questions that came up was tech innovation is thriving in areas like Bangalore, Hyderabad, NCR. How do you bring the same level of growth in rural India? I think you touched upon it, a little bit, and then yeah, I think it's also flashing on the screen.
Yeah, so I answered most of it, and there are programs to support grassroots level innovators. In fact, in Telangana, we are running this program, which is a very, very nationally recognized and respected program. So this program is, we have given a Telugu name to it, so not everyone will understand, but I'll translate it also. So the program is called Inta Innovator. So in English, it is translated into there is an innovator in every home. So that is the program. हर घर में, अगर आप लोग हिंदी समझते हैं तो हर घर में इनोवेटर है, इसका ये मतलब है. So we actually run a very structured program. Our teams go village to village, homes to identify what kind of problem solving is on. So the person who is innovating in a rural area typically doesn't realize that he is an innovator. And if I tell him, or if I ask him, are you an innovator? He will draw a blank, because these terms are not very commonly used in rural areas, at least in Telangana. So the question which we ask is, when we go to any village, the way in which we enter the village is to check what are the most pressing problems that you have been facing, and is there someone in the village who has tried some local solution for that. So who is the problem solver is our question, and then we get lots of answers, and then this review, we verify, and I'm happy to share that in the last 8 years that this program is running, we would have discovered and uncovered almost 300 plus grassroots innovators. So you can look it up. It's on the internet, on our websites, and on Inta Innovator. INTA Innovator.
Amazing. So while we spoke about Hyderabad and Telangana, which has always been a role model for a lot of other states, but if you were to point at another state or a city after Hyderabad, which would that one be, sir?
See, it is like this. Today, if you honestly ask me, and I'm not running down anyone, or I'm not kind of undermining anyone. So at one point in time, tech in India was synonymous with Bangalore. And because of that legacy, even now people in the US consider Bangalore to be the Silicon Valley of India, etc. But much of that sheen is going away. They are resting on their laurels. There's a long legacy. And of course, great things have happened. So not to say that the laurels are undeserved. But other cities are now slowly stealing a march. In fact, I remember I told you that I got into the tech space 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the difference between Hyderabad and Bangalore was three times the size of the industry, the number of people working in the tech sector, the value of software which was created, value of software which was exported. These are the standard metrics to measure the growth of or the landscape of a software industry in a particular city or a state. So Bangalore was directly three times more than us. In the last 10 years, we have narrowed it down to 2.1 times. So what was three times bigger has now, I mean, I won't say they have shrunk, they continue to grow, but we are growing faster. But I'm not saying that Hyderabad is the only city which is growing faster. There are three, four other cities also which are growing very fast. One of them is Pune. I do acknowledge that lots of spillover from Bangalore. Well, some has come our way, some has also gone to Pune. The third location in India, which has also captured a lot of this angst against Bangalore, is I mean, there are two cities after Hyderabad and Pune. There are two cities which are Chennai and Gurgaon. Gurgaon primarily still is focused on the BPO kind of work, which is now losing its relevance. And as more and more AI driven tech development is happening, uh, Gurgaon may completely kind of lose its mojo.
All right. So there's another question, final question maybe. What is India's long-term goal in the tech race? How far is the country from being seen as a true leader?
So, see, different people will answer this question in different ways. If you ask people in the government, so for example, I'm in the government, so our interest would be to ensure that all the pain points that people in India face, whether they live in the rural areas or in cities, whether they are very rich or very poor or middle class, it's not to say that there are no problems or challenges at all. In fact, there are some people who have said that if you can solve a problem in India, you can solve it anywhere in the world. So that's the kind of comment which is made about India. So my uh, preference about tech would be that we find solutions which are tech enabled. And I know that there are some problems which have been persisting for generations altogether. So can we find tech solutions which take care of all those pain points, but at the same time those solutions are easy to operate, easy to understand, accessible, affordable. I do not want solutions to come up which further exacerbate the digital divide. Already the income levels, the Gini coefficient in India is pretty high. So I don't want digital to widen it further. I want digital to assimilate and help the most common person in a rural and remote village. So that is my aspiration. I'm not bothered about the value of software which is being created, or the number of countries to which we are exporting the software, or how many unicorns are there, or what is their valuation. All these are good numbers, and I'm happy to see that on these numbers also our country continues to make good progress. But what really would matter the most to me is whether we are using technology for social good or public impact.
Absolutely. So very true, sir. Impact, the social impact, I think, is one of the key aspects now that most entrepreneurs are looking at as well. So, in the interest of time, sir, I think we'll have to kind of. There are many other questions, but I think what we will do is we will probably share them across to you, and if there is time, if you have time, any time, then you can kind of respond back to them, and we'll ensure that we'll send it back to the person who's asked that question. But indeed, it was lovely having you, sir, and thank you for those profound insights that you shared with us on India and Telangana as a role model for the rest of the states in India, and why NRIs need to kind of now look at India as the opportunity and continue to support India's growth while come here and take up opportunities that are there a galler, sir. So thank you so much, sir, once again for spending this time with us.
Thank you. And one last request would be, as
Sure, sir.
organizers, if you can share my mail ID with everyone,
Sure,
uh,
sir.
be happy to stay connected with everyone over a long period of time.
We'll certainly do that, sir.
And if some of the things which I mentioned are being are making some kind of a difference in someone's plans or thinkings, etc., I'll be happy to guide them further. So please do share my mail ID for everyone's benefit.
Certainly, sir. We'll do that.
Okay. Thank you then. Nice meeting all of you.
Thank
Nice
you, sir.
talking to all of you.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye. Bye
Pleasure.
bye.